Sekejap Sekejap Hai. Okay. So sekarang boleh start dah kot. Sekejap, boleh tak? Rasa macam boleh lah. Okay, so sekarang ni saya rasa saya proceed dengan complex number dulu. Lepas tu nanti dekat belakang-belakang tu nanti baru saya tunjukkan yang hari tu. Yang apa? Soalan 6B dengan soalan nombor 7. So nanti dekat hujung baru saya bagilah. So kita masuk complex number terus sebab complex number ni banyak juga Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon everyone. Okay, so let us proceed with the complex number. So before this, we have learned about Cartesian form. Z equal to A plus BI. So today we are going to learn how to express our complex number in polar form. So in complex number, you can write them down in two forms, Cartesian as well as the polar form. So in polar form, Z is equal to R cos theta plus I sin theta. Okay, so polar form for Z equal to A plus BI. So if let's say this is your Argon diagram actually, so the real axis and then we have imaginary axis. So this is your Argon diagram. So the X is the real, the Y is the imaginary axis. Okay, so if this is your A, so A is this value over here, A plus B, so B is the imaginary value, then this is actually your Z. So this is your point PAB. Okay, so the Z is represented in a plane as point PAB. So this is your Z. Okay, so now this is theta and this is the length of Z. Okay, so now the length of Z or the modulus of Z is the length OP. So starting from origin up until the point P. So the formula to calculate the length, so the modulus of Z is equal to the square root of A square plus B square. So if Z is equal to A plus BI, then that means the modulus of Z is simply the square root of A square plus with B square. So that is for modulus of Z. Another one. Okay, so this is actually the argument of Z, or normally we call them as theta. So the formula, the basic formula for theta is equal to arctangent B over A. But I should remind you one thing about this argument. This one should always be in radian. So that means if your calculator, if you are using degree in your calculator, so that means you should change the mode to radian. So kena tukar mode lah. Okay, so argument is the angle measured from the positive axis either in anti-clockwise or clockwise manner. So if let's say this is your region, so we are either moving, this one is called the anti-clockwise or this one is called the clockwise. So we always start from here, always start from the positive x-axis. So move until here or from here up until there. Okay, so now this is how we draw our diagram. So we have 0. So this is degree in radian, 0 radian. 90 degree is pi over 2. So if you already have pi, that is simply means you are already in radian. So this is 180 pi or negative pi. So pi, if we are moving anti-clockwise, if you are moving clockwise, then this one should be negative pi. So sebab tu dekat sini pi pun boleh, negative pi pun boleh. Tengok kita gerak ikut arah mana lah. Okay, so the argument should always be in negative pi until pi. So that is why for the argument, when I draw them, it should either from here or here until here. So sini sampai sini ini adalah pi. Sini sampai hujung ni itu adalah negatif pi. Sebab tu dia kata negatif pi sampai pi sahaja. So kita pusing segerat sajalah. We don't have a full circle, only half circle. Okay, so if our z is in the first quadrant, then that means this is your argument, your theta. So the formula to calculate the theta, so theta is equal to arctangent of the modulus of b over a. So what do I mean by modulus? So since I simply want the basic angle, so I don't really care about the sign. So tak peduli lah dia positif ke negatif ke, kita akan pakai modulus saja. So kalau kata z berada di first quadrant, then that means our argument is simply equal to arctangent of modulus b over a. If your z is in the second quadrant, so we have to sketch our Argon diagram first. If our z is in the second quadrant, then this is the theta that we want to find. So the formula to calculate the theta is equal to pi minus arctangent of b over a. So take pi because from here up until here, this is pi, and then we're going to deduct with arctangent of p over a. So that is the angle over here. So pi minus with this angle, and then you're going to get your theta. So that is if z is in the second quadrant. Okay, so third quadrant. So the theta starting from here, always remember start from the positive real axis. So from here up until there, so that is our theta. So the formula to calculate the theta for this one is theta is equal to arctangent of b over a minus with pi, because we want to make sure that the angle is negative. Do you realize this is pi minus arctangent b minus b over a, and this is arctangent b over a minus pi. They are just the opposite of each other. So if you do remember the first one, the second one over here, we can actually times them with negative in order to get this formula. Okay, so if z is in the fourth quadrant, so this is the fourth quadrant, so that is your theta or your argument. So the formula for theta is equal to the negative of arctangent b over a. So firstly, you must draw your Argon diagram first, determine where is your z. Once you know where is your z, is it in the first, second, third or fourth quadrant, then you use the respective formula, corresponding formula. You must use the corresponding formula for each quadrant. So this is for quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. Okay, next. Okay, so polar form of complex number. So if let's say z is equal to a plus bi, and then you draw your Argon diagram. Okay. Right, so from this diagram, so how do we calculate cos? So cos of theta, so cos is the adjacent over hypotenuse. So cos, so this is theta, adjacent is a, hypotenuse is r. So that is why you have a over r. Should I write down adjacent over hypotenuse? So that is how you have a over r. For the sine, Sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. So this is opposite over hypotenuse. So this is B, the opposite of theta is B over with the hypotenuse R. So this is opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. Okay, and then you let the A and B as the subject. So you're going to get A equal to R cos theta, B is equal to R sin theta, and then replace the A as well as the B over here. So what do you have is Z equal to R cos theta plus I R sin theta, or you can actually factorize the R outside. So you're going to get Z equal to R cos theta plus I sin theta. Ayah tu banyak huruf R semua. Okay, so this is basically the formula for our polar form. Z is equal to R cos theta plus I sin theta. So ini formula yang nak kena ingat tu lah kiranya. So siapa yang tak catat lagi, catat formula ni. Z is equal to R cos theta plus I sin theta. Okay, so let me go straight away to the example. Okay, so represent the following complex number on Argon diagram. So you should represent them on Argon diagram and find its modulus and argument. So find the modulus of side and argument. So that means we want to find what is the theta. Express the complex number in polar form. Okay, so we have quite a few here. So let us move to the questions straight away. Okay, so the first one, we have Z equal to 2 plus 4i. So they told us to sketch the Argon diagram. So draw the x-axis and the y-axis, but this time name them as the real and imaginary axis. So real, imaginary, so positive 2, positive 4. So the real part must be 2, imaginary must be 4. So that is our Z. So 2, 4. So that is our Z, 2, 4. Okay, so now if I ask you which quadrant we are in. So ini quadrant yang keberapa? So positive real number, positive imaginary number. That simply means we are actually in the first quadrant. Okay, so now let us calculate our modulus of side. So the modulus from the formula, it should be the square root of a square plus with b square. So the a is 2, so this is a, and then this is your b, 4. So that means we have a square root of 2 square plus with 4 square. And then 2 square is 4, 4 plus with 16, so this is equal to the square root of 20. Okay, so how do they get 2 square root of 5? So if you have square root of 20, square root of 20 is actually square root of 4 multiply with 5. And then you can easily separate them into 2. So set 4, set 5. So we can actually separate them into 2 different sets because we have a multiplication inside here. If you have a plus or minus, never do that. Okay, so set of 4, that is equal to 2. Set of 5, that is simply square root of 5. So this is how we simplify the set. Okay, so done with the modulus of side. So now let us focus on the argument. So this is in the first quadrant. So the formula for my argument is theta equal to arctangent 4 over 2, and then of course change the mode to radian. So arctangent of 4 over 2, this is equal to 1.107 radian. So we already have the modulus, we have our argument. So now we can easily write them down in polar form. Okay, so our polar form is Z equal to R cos theta plus I sin theta. So you simply replace the R. So R is our modulus of Z. So modulus of Z is equal to 2 set 5. And then cos, replace theta with whatever value that you have. Plus I, sin, and then replace the theta as well. So this is your polar form. So the first example, done. Okay, so now let us proceed with the second one. Okay, for the second one, we have z equal to 2 minus with 4i. So again, draw your Argon diagram first. Real axis, imaginary axis. Be very careful with the plus and minus sign. So real axis, imaginary axis. So the real part is positive, so that is over here. For imaginary, we actually have negative 4, so it should become something with negative. So that means below here. So that means my z is somewhere along here. So that means the z is actually in the, so this one is 2, 1, 2, 3. So this one must be the fourth quadrant sebab sini positive real, negative imaginary. So this is the fourth quadrant. So my z is in the fourth quadrant. So later on when we want to calculate the argument, we're going to use the formula for the fourth quadrant. Okay, so let us calculate then. So the modulus of z, so again the square root of a square plus b square. So keep in mind that whatever b that you have, make sure you write them down inside a bracket first before you put a square so that the value is always positive. Okay, so this one again, this is 4 plus with 16. So this is again square root of 20. And square root of 20 is actually equal to square root of 4 times with 5. So you can easily separate them to become set of 4, set of 5. And then set of 4 is 2, set 5 is simply set 5. So that is how you get to set 5. Okay, so now for the argument, we are in the fourth quadrant. Therefore, for the argument, we have to use the formula for the fourth quadrant. So the formula is arctangent of B over A, negative of arctangent B over A. Okay, so before this, in the formula, we do have the modulus sign, right? But since I already changed it to become positive, I don't need the modulus sign. So kalau ikutkan sepatutnya dia adalah arctangent, the modulus, so my B is negative 4 over 2. But since I already apply the modulus for negative 4 to become 4, so that is why this one is simply a normal bracket. So kalau kita dah apply modulus tu terus jadi positif sajalah, ataupun kalau nak letak modulus pun boleh juga kat sini. Okay, so now again use your calculator, find out what is arctangent of 2. So the formula will give you argument equal to negative 1.107 radian. So once you know what is your argument, substitute into the polar form. So z will be equal to r, okay, so cos theta plus I sin theta. Okay, so r is over here, so this is your r, 2 sec 5, cos of theta. So if let's say you do have something with negative, then simply put a bracket and then write down whatever that negative number is, plus I sin whatever that number is, and then close bracket. So again, one polar form done. Okay, so I think I can proceed with the next one. Are you guys doing good so far? Okay, good. So far okay. Boleh. Boleh follow ah. Okay, so okay rasanya. Okay, tak apalah. Kita try tengok lagi dua example So yang ni dah buat first dengan fourth dah. So sekarang kita try masuk second dengan third. And then kita tengok macam mana Okay, so now. So we got negative 2 plus with 2i. Again, draw your Argon diagram. It is very crucial. We want to know where is our z. So draw your Argon, real, imaginary. So the real part is negative. So make sure on left hand side here, positive imaginary. So that means it is somewhere along here. Okay, so that is your z. So z is actually in the second quadrant. So we are in the second quadrant now. Okay, so now let us calculate the modulus of Z. So that one will become the square root of negative 2 square plus with 2 square. So negative 2 square is 4, 4 plus 4. So this is square root of 8. So square root of 8 is actually equal to 2 square root of 2. So how do they get this? Is that square root of 8 is equal to square root of 4 times with 2. So this one will become square root of 4 square root of 2. And then square root of 4 is simply 2. So it will become 2 square root of 2. Okay, so now the theta. We are in the second quadrant, so it will become pi minus arctangent of 2 over 2. Again, without the modulus sign because I already applied the modulus for negative 2. So tadi dah apply modulus, so that is pi. This is simply a normal bracket. So pi minus arctangent of 2 over 2. So arctangent of 1, that is actually a special angle. So 0, 30, 45. So that means arctangent of 1 is 45 degree or pi over 4. So this one will give you pi over 4. So ini special angle kan, pi over 4. Okay, so pi minus with pi over 4. So that is how you end up with with theta equal to 3 pi over 4. So once you know that theta is equal to 3 pi over 4, substitute. So Z is equal to R cos theta plus I sin theta. So R is 2 sec 2 cos of theta 3 pi over 4 plus I sin 3 pi over 4. So siaplah pola form. Okay, so now next. Okay, so D is negative square root of 3 negative I. So dia dah tulis siap-siap quadrant 3, tapi patutnya kita lukis dulu lah baru kita tahu. Okay, so real number, imaginary number, so that is your Z. So the real number, this is negative, so this is negative square root of 3, imaginary negative 1. Okay, so when you want to calculate the modulus of Z, that is actually the square root of negative square root of 3 square plus negative 1 square. So square them one by one. So the negative 1, you square first, so it will become positive. Square root of 3, if you square them, it will become 3. So it will become 3 plus 1, which is simply square root of 4. So it will become 2. So square root of 4 equal to 2. So done with the modulus for the argument. So the formula for the argument is arctangent of modulus B over A minus with pi. So I already applied the modulus. So simply 1 over square root of 3 minus with pi. But this is actually a special angle. So 1 over square root of 3, 0, 30. So 30 lah sebab 1 over sec 3. So 30 is actually pi over 6. So pi over 6 minus pi. So this is how you get negative 5 pi over 6. Of course, if you don't want to remember the special angle, you can simply use your calculator. That is fine. As long as the question didn't say leave your answer in terms of pi. Kalau soalan minta in terms of pi, kita kena follow soalan lah. Kena jawab dengan sebutan pi. Okay, so this is negative 5 pi over 6. So substitute into here. R cos theta plus I sin theta. So substitute the value of R, substitute the value of theta, and then you're gonna have the last polar form. Apa ni? Afif Pip. Kenapa? Kenapa mata besar macam tu? Anis Syahada masih boleh bertahan. Boleh lah kot. Pening. Okay, the first one, okay, saya bagi step by step lah. Okay, the first one, do make sure to draw the Argon diagram. Argon diagram. Okay, so why do we need to draw the Argon diagram? We need to know which quadrant we are in. Quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Okay, so Argon diagram. Second, you calculate the modulus of side. So you simply use the formula, the square root of a square plus b square. So simply use this formula to calculate the modulus of side. Third, you calculate the argument. So calculate the argument, this one you must follow the formula for the quadrant. So kena tengok lah quadrant berapa, formula dia apa. And then ganti je dalam bentuk polar form. So first start with Argon diagram to know which quadrant, modulus of side, and then to calculate the argument, do check which quadrant you are in and then follow the formula for that quadrant and then write them down in polar form. Tidur dulu sampai hati. Saya tak tahu nak tukar pi. Okay, Miss, yang ada pi tu formula. Pi tu dia adalah special angle. Kalau special angle kan apa? 30 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree. Yang ni adalah special angle. So 30 degree, this is pi over 6. So pi ni 180. So 180 bahagi dengan 6 nanti dapat 30 lah. 45 is pi over 4. This is pi over 3 and 90 is simply pi over 2. So itu basic angle lah. Special angle, kalau tak saya tengok. Saya ada bagi tak kat dalam ni. Sekejap saya tengok dulu kalau saya ada dekat main-main dia. Okay, so untuk siapa yang pernah masuk dekat Google Site saya, awak boleh pergi dekat Google Site saya. Lepas tu awak cari yang SM015. Saya ada hantar satu file kat situ. Sekejap kalau saya boleh dapat link dia. Tak apa, saya ambil link dekat ni lah. Okay, so itu link yang saya bagi dekat awak. So link tu adalah link buku. Dekat buku tu awak cari dekat bahagian special trigonometric angle. Saya rasa dalam bab apa? Bab 7 kot, dia dah dekat ujung-ujung lah. So dekat situ saya ada tulis lah dia punya basic angle dan juga dalam pi dia berapa. So boleh tengok dekat situ lah. So nanti tengok Okay, so yang itu. Lepas tu sekarang saya nak masuk bahagian yang baru lah ni. Subtopik yang baru lah tau. Jangan terkejut lah, subtopik baru dah. Okay, so this is a new subtopic and the last subtopic for chapter 1. Indices, set and logarithm. But for today, we are simply going to look at indices. Set and logarithm will be for next week, which is the last lecture for chapter 1. Okay, so learning outcome. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to express the rules of indices. Okay, so we do have a few rules of indices. So the first one, multiplication rule. So if you have a to the power of m times with a to the power of n, so between the same base, what will happen is that we're going to add our index. Division rule, if you have a division between the same base again, so you're going to minus the index. and then a power rule. So if let's say we have a to the power of m to the power of n, so this is simply equal to a to the power of m multiplied with n. So we're gonna multiply the index. Okay, next. If you have any number to the power of 0 that is simply equal to 1, as long as a is not equal to 0 itself. And then if you have some negative index, so a to the power of negative n is simply 1 over a to the power of n. And a to the power of mn, so this n over here is actually the root. So m will become the power and the root is 1 over n. If you have a multiplied with b to the power of n, you can simply apply the power for each of them. So a to the power of n, b to the power of n. Another one, a over b to the power of n, so that is simply a to the power of n over b to the power of n. So those are the rules that we have to remember. Okay, so let me proceed with the example to see how we're gonna use the rules of this. Okay, so for most of the example 2, 3, and 4, I simply use part A. So part B, I leave that to you guys to do it. Okay, so we have to simplify 18 x squared y to the power of 5 over 3x to the power of 4 multiplied with y. So what are we going to simplify first is the number. So do make sure you simplify the number and then you simplify for the x and then we're going to simplify for the y. Okay, so simplify the number first. 18 divided by 3, so it will become 6. So we have 6x squared y to the power of 5 over x to the power of 4 multiplied with y. So this is a division between the same base because we have x over here, y here, y here. So same base. So we can actually do the division for something within the same base. So x dengan x, y dengan y lah Okay, so it will become 6 x to the power of 2 minus 4. So this is in your denominator. So you will bring them up, it will become minus. So 2 minus 4. And then this one, bring them up again. So you're going to get negative 1. So 6x, 2 minus 4, y to the power of 5 minus 1. So simplify them a little bit. You're going to get 6x to the power of negative 2, y to the power of 4. Of course, you can leave your answer like this. If you don't think it looks beautiful enough, you can easily bring them down. So that is how it becomes 6y to the power of 4 over x squared. Dan simplify. Soalan senang je kan? Ya. Okay, so done with this. B, I leave that to you for you to try them on your own. So I'm doing example 3. So simplify the following expression. So we have 3 to the power of n plus 2 times with 9 to the power of n and then divide by 27 to the power of n. So now, better to change everything into the simple index and similar index. The similar base. Base lain kat bawah kan. So change everything into a common base and then simplify them. Cakap pun dah tak betul. Tengah hari kot rasanya. Cakap pun dah macam apa rasa. Okay, so I'll give you 5 minutes lah for me to keep my head straight kan. So I give you some time to do this question. So I give you 5 minutes, do this question and then we will see your answer later on. Sebab sekejap lagi nak tengok lagi satu tu kan. Madam kata nak pasang lagu. Anak lagu apa weh? Sekejap ada lagu ke dalam ni? Bola Blackpink. Amboi. Sekejap saya tengok. Saya pun tak tahu ada lagu apa. Kami dah tidur. Next. Laju je kurang. Siap dah ke? Soalan siap dah? Laju semacam tu. Sekejap lagi kena strike pula. Yalah, tak apalah. Okay, kan. Tak sampai 5 minit tapi tak apalah, boleh lah kita continue je lah. Ada yang dah dapat jawapan ke untuk yang ni? Awak dapat simplify. Dapat jawapan apa? Last sekali bila simplify. Saya lupa nak bagi complex number tadi awak try kan? Lupa, seronok sangat kot bersembang. Siapa dapat jawapan? Angkat tangan. Aisyah Atira. Aisyah dapat apa Aisyah? Aisyah seorang je ke? Orang lain tak angkat tangan pun tak dapat ke? Oh ada dah orang lain. Akmal pun dah dapat dah. Okay. Oh tapi saya rasa kalau nak respon siapa yang pakai PC senang lah sikit kan. Kalau pakai handphone macam payah je. Tiga kuasa 2. 3 kuasa 2 berapa? 49. Okay, sekejap lagi kita tengok. Betul ke tak? Tapi saya rasa macam betul lah. Oh ada orang lain juga dapat. Okay. Ada lagi? Okay, bolehlah tu. Kayaknya tak sembang seorang-seorang. Adalah orang. Okay, mari kita sambung. Okay. Okay, so 3 to the power of n plus 2 times with 9 to the power of n divided by 27 to the power of n. So we change the 9. 9 is actually 3 square and then 27 is actually 3 cube. So we're going to change everything into the same base or a common base called the 3. So this is 3 square to the power of n, 3 cube to the power of n. And then we simply apply the rules that we know. So this one will become 3 to the power of 2n, this one will become 3 to the power of 3n. So we're going to multiply the index. Okay, so now when we are doing some multiplication, we're going to add the index. if we are doing some division, we're going to minus the index. So plus with 2n minus with 3n. Okay, so it will become 3 to the power of n plus 2n minus with 3n, which is simply 3 to the power of 2, which is equal to 9. So good job untuk siapa yang dapat. Yay. Berapa tu? 99. 9 kot. Okay. Next. Benar? So the last one. Okay, so example 4. Simplify. So we have 3y squared t and then square everything over 3yt square to the power of negative 2. Okay, so should I give you some time again? So boleh lah saya bagi masa lagi lah untuk awak jawab. Bosan lah asyik saya buat je. So I give you 3 minutes this time. 3 minutes for you to do this question. Okay, so kalau dah dapat nanti tulis dekat situ kata dah dapat. Baru saya tahu saya nak proceed ke tak. Done. Wah, ada yang dah siap. Dah siap tapi kena tengok jawapan dulu. Tak confident lah. Sabar je lah. Sama. Kekurangan confident. Dah siap tapi tak ada jawapan. Macam mana boleh siap tapi tak ada jawapan? Tu kira tak siap lah kot Alah judi lah. Siap lah dia. Okay, so now let us see this one, this example. So we got 3y to the power of 2y square. So 3y square t square, 3yt square negative 2. So what you should do first is that you should expand them. So kena expand lah, kuasa 2 kan setiap satu. So 3 square, y square, square, t square. So 3 to the power of negative 2, y negative 2, t square to the power of negative 2. Okay, so it will become 3 square y to the power of 4 t square over 3 to the power of negative 2 y to the power of negative 2 t to the power of negative 4. And then you have a common base 3 here, y, t. So we got some common base, so you can easily bring them up. So it will become 3, 2 minus negative 2 because this is in your denominator. So bring them up. We should apply negative. And then 4 minus negative 2, t square minus negative 4. Simplify them. So it will become 3 to the power of 4, y to the power of 6, t to the power of 6. And then 3 to the power of 4 is simply 81. Y to the power of 6, T to the power of 6. So well done, good job. Kalau salah pada muka A tak ada lah, okey je. 3 kuasa 4. 3 kuasa 4 tu 81, betul lah. Kalau salah pun okey je, tak kisah pun. Alah tengah belajar kot, normal lah tu, betul ke salah. Don't worry too much. Oh betul, terharu lah tu dia dapat betul tu, sabar je lah. Okay, so now I want to show you the answer for the other day. So sekejap saya hide dulu sekejap. Okay, so sekarang, so this is question number 6, number 6B. Can you guys see? This is the largest that I can do. Boleh nampak ke? Tak nampak pun kita nampak dah tu. Okay, so 4 plus 7i over 2 plus 5i. So what you should do, you take the conjugate of 2 plus 5i. So you times with 2 minus 5i over 2 minus 5i. And then you expand them. Expand, simplify. So you guys gonna end up with 8 minus 6i minus 35i square over 4 minus 25i square. And then use the definition, I square is actually equal to negative 1. So you will get 43 over 29 minus 6 over 29i. Kena buat 720 baru nampak. Saya rasa lah awak kena naikkan sikit dia punya resolution tu. Tak apalah, siapa yang internet dia slow, nanti boleh tengok lagi sekali kan. So once dah habis proses, awak tengok yang baru punya. Ataupun should I send this? Tak apalah, saya send lah, saya rasa saya hantar dekat group WhatsApp lagi. So tengok je dulu. Okay, so the answer for B is 43 over 29 minus 6 over 29i. Okay, so for question number 7, express z equal to 1 minus 2i. And then if z is equal to 1 minus 2i, express z of z plus 1 over z in the form of a plus bi. So you substitute z is equal to 1 minus 2i plus with 1 over 1 minus 2i. And then untuk fraction yang dekat belakang ni, kita akan darabkan dia dengan conjugate. So multiply with its conjugate. So times with 1 plus 2i over 1 plus 2i. And then you're going to simplify them. So it will become 1 plus 2i over 5. And then have a common numerator. Bring it to the left. So 1 minus 2i need to times with 5. So 5 minus 10i plus 1 plus 2i over 5. And then you're going to end up with 6 over 5 minus 8 over 5i. So that is question number 7. Semua dah betul. Tapi memang terharu kenapa pula? Sebab tiba-tiba betul ke? Sabar je lah. Aduh. Okey je. Don't worry. Maths kita follow je, nanti dia okey je. Tak ada banyak sangat masalah. Okay, so do you guys have anything? Oh, by the way, I didn't do the B part, right? 3B, 2B, 3B, and 4B. So that one will be left as your homework. So that means for the next class, we are going to check 2B, 3B, and 4B. So whoever wants to give me the answer, you are very much welcome to do so. So I'll let everyone else see the answer this way. Ataupun siapa yang rasa macam nak jadi guest saya pun boleh juga. Saya boleh tambah sampai 6 orang kot rasanya. So kalau rasa macam nak explain macam ni pun boleh je kalau rasa nak. Okay, so up to you whether you want to give me the answer, send me the answer, or you can join together dekat sini. Bukanlah join apa, saya bagi link, awak masuk, awak akan jadi guest lah kat sini. So ni muka saya kan, bawah atau atas saya nanti ada orang lain lah. Atas kotak ni, atas ada orang, bawah ada orang. Soalan tu dekat mana? Dekat buku, dekat lecture note awak. Oh, sebab awak tak ada lecture note Sekejap saya tengok. Kalau macam tu saya kena sekejap saya combine semua. Okay. Kalau madam bagi homework tapi saya tak ada rumah, macam mana madam? Homework lah, bilik. Kerja dekat bilik. Boleh jugalah. Okay, so sekejap lagi saya akan snap soalan tu, saya akan hantar dekat group kita lah. Okay, so nanti I'll see you guys next week. So untuk siapa yang tukar modul, I'll see you whenever I'm gonna see you. So untuk F2 yang tak tukar modul, see you next week. Siapa yang tukar modul, bye-bye.